both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, you know it's a big day if I've got the button going. Come on now, Game Time Decisions, where you need to be on a monster basketball Tuesday. Kevin Walsh with you again right here on SportsGrid. We have two great college games, the Champions Classic, Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke. We will be breaking those down, but we will open it up tonight with the beautiful, the wonderful, the can't-miss product that is the NBA in-season tournament. Oh, you know you love it. The Celtics are favored to win it. They were favored to win it last year, which is an interesting little situation that we have. Last year, I was all in on Boston to win the in-season tournament because they were the best team in basketball. Yet if you looked at the pricing, we were getting a little bit more value on the Celtics. This time around, at 4-1, not so much. Again, Boston can do it, and I actually have some pro-Boston futures. I'm going elsewhere in the outright market. We'll explain in depth in the Take 5, but I'm feeling generous. I'm on Oklahoma City at 12-1. Again, we will expand throughout the show. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's go group by group here with you on Game Time Decisions. Group number A, Knicks, Sixers, Magic, Hornets, and Nets. You have a clear top two in New York and Philadelphia, and they will go head-to-head tonight in what is easily the biggest game on the board. It is not just a big game for the NBA Cup. It is a big game for the NBA season because Joel Embiid is making his season debut. Last year, the would-be MVP, if not for injury, goes tonight for Philadelphia against the Knicks, who eliminated him and the Sixers from the playoffs last year. If JoJo can step up tonight, Philly will become the favorites to actually win this group. No Tyrese Maxey, but the Sixers at home have a shot. We'll dive into those numbers just a little bit more. I've got some Sixers sizzles tonight. Their team total over is my best bet on the board. I think there's plenty of value. This Knicks defense has not held up at all this season, specifically on the road. Group number B, the Milwaukee Bucks are the favorites. Should we take the rest of the segment to laugh? Milwaukee favored to do anything is outrageous. Have we seen the Bucks play? They don't even have Damian Lillard tonight. Of course they don't. The Bucks are better at not being available. I don't even know if Chris Middleton is still on this roster. I think the Pacers present a lot of value. They're coming off of their best game this season with that win against the New York Knicks, and they are in-season tournament pros, the defending champs of the eastern portion of it. Milwaukee tonight, though, is a big favorite against the Toronto Raptors, despite being without Damian Lillard, laying 8.5. That is because Toronto is one of the most injured teams in basketball and, of course, doesn't have many lofty expectations. The Bucks have done an okay job as a big favorite, though they've also lost in this building to Chicago, laying around a similar number. I'm not rushing to be betting the Bucks here in this spot. Group number C, it's where the favorites reside, the Boston Celtics, who are incredibly matched up with the unbeaten Cleveland Cavaliers in this group. The Cavs, 12-0. They have been phenomenal. The Bulls, the Hawks, and the Wizards feel like they are just here to take losses, which is why I think that the Boston Celtics are the rightful heavy favorites in this group. Boston hosting Cleveland is the swing that put the Celtics at that minus 175 price. We're not going to bet that minus 175 on Boston. I think we'll find some better value elsewhere. They are a 15-point favorite tonight against the Hawks. I have not bet it yet. I lean Boston. The number actually looks light. Atlanta doesn't have Trae Young. The Hawks hosted the Celtics a week ago, lost by 30 in their own building, and they did have Trae Young. And I don't even think Boston had Jaylen Brown in that game, and he's playing tonight. A lot of juice here to me on Boston laying 15. They know how to beat teams by a lot. They did it all last season. Let's go over to the western side of it, where group number A gives us the Minnesota Timberwolves as the favorite. And I disagree. I don't think this has really broke well for Minnesota here. The Kings, the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Blazers. A tricky group there with four teams looking like they have a legitimate shout. Toronto, of course, Portland, of course, a ways back. Minnesota will open up their portion of group play against the Blazers as 9-point favorites. Maybe that's a good reason why Minnesota is sitting at the level of favorite that they are. I disagree with it, though. I'd rather bet any of the three middle teams with the Kings, the Clippers, or the Rockets. I did take one of that trio. Again, your take 5 is a little bit later tonight, so we will get there in just a little bit. There's some value for me in Group A. In Group B, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending in-season tournament champion Los Angeles Lakers, along with the Phoenix Suns, who will be without Kevin Durant for a number, if not all, of their group games. And that is a big part of why Phoenix's number is so low. The Spurs are plus 750. The Jazz are 18-1. There were two teams that I considered within this group, but I just told you I'm betting the Thunder to win this whole thing outright, so that's where I'm landing. But my second consideration is not the Lakers or Suns. It's actually the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs get to host both L.A. on Friday and then Oklahoma City. Getting to play the Lakers, potentially, could they be without Anthony Davis? We'll get the timetable with the eye. Maybe, maybe not. But still, being home, the Spurs are coming off one of their best wins of the season, beating Sacramento by 20. Maybe this team is rounding into form. And they will play Oklahoma City in their building. We know OKC will be without Chet Holmgren, which is one of the things that's created this value on the Thunder. As I said, Phoenix, no look for me. They're without Kevin Durant, and they have been winning by the skin of their teeth all season long. They've been dominant in clutch time. And you look at right away, their first game without KD, it's an overtime loss. Kevin Durant was in the MVP conversations, if you're having conversations that don't involve Nikola Jokic early on. And for the Phoenix Suns, losing KD, I think, will be very damaging. They're on the ropes here tonight against the Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen should break out, though. I like him over 20.5 points. One of my favorite bets on our slate tonight. Let's get to Group C. Denver, Golden State, Dallas, Memphis, and New Orleans. A clear top three when you look at it, right? I mean, the Pelicans are the most injured team early season I've maybe ever seen. Zion out, Jose Alvarado joins the fold. They're already missing DeJounte Murray, C.J. McCollum. Who knows when Brandon Ingram will eventually go down? And I don't say that to be mean. It's just what history has suggested. Memphis is also dealing with injuries. Bane, Smart, Ja Morant week to week. And this trio is viewed a lot more favorably. Denver's status as favorites is deserved. Not because Jokic is unstoppable or Jamal Murray is back healthy. They host Golden State and they host Dallas. That is the swing in Group C. But for me, I wonder a little bit about Denver and the fact that they need Nikola Jokic to play at a level that is arguably in a 9-game run. It's one of the greatest 9-game runs in the history of basketball. I mean, it is. He's averaging 30, 14, and 12 on 50, 50, 90. It's preposterous what he's doing. I just wonder if the Nuggets could be a little vulnerable. An awesome game tonight, though, as Klay Thompson returns to the Bay for the first time in his career, not on the Golden State Warriors. Klay props will be as popular as it gets. Maybe he gets there, maybe he doesn't. I am on the under in this game, though, at 235. A little bit of better number out in the market. I know we love Luka, Steph, Kyrie. I get it. These are two defenses that right now are the top 5 in basketball. I'm going under, a big-time number at 235. Just quickly, your MVP market here. Tatum, the favorite, understandably. But also, conference finals last year, Jaylen Brown, finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. I don't know. Would it surprise you if it all of a sudden went to Derek White? I can't get there again on these Boston Celtics numbers. We'll see where Coach gets. He's going to join us next. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions. We are live on a Tuesday night, a basketball Tuesday, if there ever was one. We've got big games on the college board and plenty to get to with the NBA Cup. And to help us break it down, it is Coach James Young. JY, great to have you on a Tuesday.
I'm not talking. We got games to discuss. Let's go.
He's right, though. We do have to sprint through it. Coach, let's start college, okay? Because then NBA, we can maybe stretch our legs a little bit with the time that remains. Kansas, Michigan State. The Jayhawks got a nice win over North Carolina, but it looked like it was going to be an easy one. They trailed in the second half of that game. No cover against the Tar Heels. What do you expect tonight against Sparty?
Well, listen, 53 points in the first half. I mean, they were up 15. It was kind of shocking that they came back. But, Kevin, this team is loaded offensively. Like with Dickinson and Abrams playing at high-low 4-5. And then you have Harris, and then you get, obviously, a transfer Store from Wisconsin. And then, obviously, past Duke, past the Mayo, they got a ton of scoring. And I watched Michigan State early on against Monmouth opening game. I think only up by about 13 at the break. King's still trying to rebuild it. I think this number is light. I think Kansas wins. I think Kansas wins by double digits tonight.
All right, so some love there for Kansas in the market. JY, the other big game for us here, it's Duke and Kentucky. Number 6 Duke here, 19 UK. Both teams moving a little bit favorably off of their opening 2 games. What do you expect here late night?
I expect a barn burner, and I think it's going to be a great game. I think Mark Pope's done a great job so far, bringing in the combination of new guys with experience. But as much as I can't stand Duke, I'm taking Duke here. I think Cooper Flag, I think, is going to explode tonight. I just have a feeling this is the first big game, national stage, where they are the headline attraction. I like Duke here minus the points. I think Proctor gets busy. They got enough here. This will be more competitive than the first game. I think Duke pulls away second half.
Yeah, I am very torn on the side. These are 2 teams I'm incredibly in on this season. I've leaned towards the under in the build-up to this game, but that number has continued to drop. So, congrats for me that I, looked the correct direction that clearly the money is coming in on. I'm not sure, though, I'm going to play it. I've gone back and forth. You've got a lot of great athletes out there on the court, but you got a lot of shooting available as well. Listen, Kobe Bryant on the Kentucky side and Con Knippel on the Duke side could be the 2 best shooters in all of college basketball. There's a lot of different guys that can make name for themselves in games like this, so I'm really, really excited to watch it play out. JY, outside of these 2 big games, what else are you betting on the college board?
Kevin? Oh, boy. I'm taking Villanova. Here we go.
Oh.
I'm back in. I'm taking Villanova. Listen, last year they obviously lost, I do believe, to St. Joe's, struggled in the Big Five. Obviously lost that first game to Columbia. That 1-2 punch of Eric Dixon and Wooger Poplar is going to be outstanding. It's just getting enough scoring for everyone else. I do like Villanova on the money line. It's a short favorite on the road. Fordham in New York City, your neck of the woods. Over 78.5 points tonight versus Binghamton. His Binghamton team is terrible defense. I think it gave up 110 and I think 89 or 90 to Miami, and Miami called the dogs off early. Fordham tried to run with St. John's. Not a good look. Way to beat Seton Hall. Rugged team. I think they get over 78.5 points. And then New Mexico. People need to talk about Richard Pitino. He's done a great job there. Usually you just talk about them playing at the pit. They went on the road, beat UCLA. I know UCLA is down. They got Texas A&M Corpus Christi minus 16.5. Go ahead and take the Lobos in the pit tonight.
All right, some love there for New Mexico. I got some juice in that game myself, but I'll get to that in a bit. Let's get Coach NBA picks on the board because, JY, the NBA Cup begins tonight. Man, I remember many moons ago on BATR, I had to sell Coach on just how good this NBA Cup was. He came around. Before we, Coach, get into your picks for tonight, were there any futures, outright group odds that you are betting before the Cup begins?
Yeah, there's 2 I like. I actually like the Indiana Pacers in their group. You said it last segment. Why in the hell is anybody betting Milwaukee? I mean, the only thing we should be betting on is does Doc make it to the All-Star break? Because Giannis has been chirping a lot. Kevin, you know what I do love? I like the Rockets out west. I think they're a sneaky good team. I think they play good enough defense. They're healthy. They're playing better basketball. Those are my 2 kind of sleeper teams to look at. Indiana, Houston. I think they both win their groups.
All right, let's put some picks then on the board here, Coach. The big game tonight for me, it's Embiid's return in Philly against the Knicks. What do you like in that one?
I'm going to go Knicks money line. Now, listen, Knicks defense has been absolutely terrible. There's going to be a 25 to 30-minute restriction on limits in regards to the play of Joel Embiid. I think the Knicks get enough to get up and over and win this game. Their biggest issue with the Knicks, honestly, is defending Tyrese Maxey, who isn't playing. I also think they have to figure out the whole Paul George and Embiid with the ball, who's this, who's that, I think a little bit struggle. But a couple of things to look at, and Coach doesn't do a lot of like parlays, but I kind of put something together here. I like Paul George 15-plus points. I like Mikal Bridges in a bounce-back spot. I think it's 23.5 PRA. And then Cat, 10-plus rebounds. He's going to have the board playing against Embiid as long as he's in foul trouble. And, of course, dealing with Andre Drummond. Those three will put you at about a 2-to-1 odd. I think you can hit that if you want to do a little same-game parlay.
All right, little SGP potentially there for JY. What else are you betting, Coach? We've only got about a minute left here, and it's a full NBA card.
Oh, I'm talking fast. I like the Heat on the money line on the road against Detroit. I know they've lost 3 of the last 4. I think they get going. The Suns, I know you just mentioned the last segment. First game they lost without KD on against Sacramento in overtime. I think bounce back spot. I take a minus of points versus the Jazz. The Jazz are flat out terrible. 2 player props. Kyrie Irving over 3.5 rebounds. Hit 4 straight. What they're playing against Golden State. What does that mean? Tons of shots, long rebounds. Kyrie gets 4+ rebounds. Yusuf Nurkic over 12.5 points plus assists. He scores more than KD. Sneaky good passer, but use him out of the pinch post to get some dimes.
Ooh. What's been going on with Nurkic there, JY? I feel like they've been up and down on his contributions to that roster.
They better get it right. Well, KD shouted him out. Yo, big man, pass the rock, kid. You ain't a scorer.
All right, Coach James Young, appreciate it as always. We'll talk more college with you on the other side.
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
With that lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Take down the head right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
Oh, my goodness. How are you going to Kimura that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round 1 halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work!
On the hips, look at that position, that's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back, and he is unleashing the front. Oh, he's out! He's out!
And he's down! And he is done! The king has returned! Francis Ngannou is back!
All right, get in the mix with me now, huh? Game Time Decisions. We are live on SportsGrid. We've got Coach James Young's picks on the board. We've got Brian Fonseca stopping by in just a little bit. Mark Zeno's going to help out as well with some of the NBA. Also, probably going to sneak in a little college football conversation with Mark Zeno because tonight we are going to get a new set of rankings from the committee. I'm already annoyed. Can you believe that? They didn't even come out yet. And I'm already furious. Let's go college football to college basketball, though. 4 picks for me on the card, and then we'll get into the big games here. There's just a few chances, I think, with it being early season, sell high, buy low. Work with me here. Let's go Georgia, North Florida under the 159.5. The Ospreys, great name, but I think we can sell here a little bit on the early season scoring that we are seeing. Georgia Tech is a basketball team that is faster, worse defensively, better offensively than Georgia. Yet that game's total was $154.5. Now, there were 198 points, but I think we have a chance to sell high on a 159.5, maybe a little SEC level defense there from the Dogs, and we go under 159.5. Keeping it in the SEC, trying to buy low on South Carolina. One of the big upsets of the opening day of the college basketball season was South Carolina losing to, you guessed it, the North Florida Ospreys by 3 points at home as a huge favorite. Well, now they bring in a Towson team who is of a similar level to that of North Florida, and they're laying 8 to North Florida. They laid 19.5. I think we're getting a good buy low spot here on the Gamecocks. I'm going to lay the 8 at home with an SEC team. I'm going to lay 29.5 with Texas playing Chicago State. Routinely one of the worst teams in college basketball, and I think you will see the separation for Texas. Texas did not get enough separation to cover a monster number against Houston Christian. They were laying 34.5. That was because they started really slow. Only up 7 at the break makes that largely impossible, though they still won that game by 31. I think tonight Texas can get going from the word go and separate on Chicago State. Lastly, Coach mentioned a little bit of juice he has involving New Mexico tonight. Well, I've got all the juice in that game. Give me over $160 with the fastest team in college basketball in the Lobos against a Texas A&M Corpus Christi team that's already played some high-scoring basketball against a high-level opponent in Purdue, 90-73. And mind you, Purdue nowhere near as fast as the Lobo. I also like when one of these lower-level teams already has seen a high team. Purdue projects out better than New Mexico. So I think Corpus Christi, whose offense looked, again, good in that basketball game, can look good here tonight against the Lobos. Certainly good enough to get us over what I think is a light number at 160. Your games here, though, of the Champions Classic, cannot wait to watch these play out. I did put together a little parlay with those SGPs and odds boost that you have. It's real simple. It's Hunter Dickinson. It's Cooper Flagg. Each guy for 15-plus points and 6-plus rebounds with a boost on it up to plus 225. For those of you that are in places eligible to bet player props for college hoops. For those of you that are not, I agree with Kansas being the side. Though the Champions Classic has kind of taught us to take the points and to bet dogs, which is why I'm not running to the window on Kansas here. I think the idea is, because it's these 4 teams in rotation, pedigree programs, it's early season, maybe nobody is as good as we think, nobody's as bad as we think, and upsets happen all the time anyway in college basketball. So I think that Kansas does look 6.5 points better than Michigan State. They laid 7.5 to North Carolina. Certainly I understand the influence that playing at Fog Allen has on that line, but North Carolina projects, I think, more than home court's advantage worth, better than Michigan State early season. So I thought that the number was a little bit light on the Jayhawks. That's the direction that I would go in that game. For Kentucky and Duke, I look towards the under. This number at 161.5 has trended that way. It's down to 159.5. For those of you that were not with us on the opening night of the college basketball season, Duke is my national title pick. I think that they are the best team in college basketball. Yet I'm not running to bet them tonight because maybe my Kentucky fandom is seeping in a ton, but it's really because I know that it's going to take a little bit for odds makers to catch up to this team. KenPom, routinely, you can see, look very similar to the market. Started with Kentucky outside of the top 40 in college. A ridiculous notion that's already seen them crash inside almost the top 30. We'll see what it looks like tonight in that game, but I expect Cooper Flagg to still shine. Ryan Fonseca's coming up next.
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
With that lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to get more of that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work! Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the throw. Oh, he's out! He's out!
All right, back to right here, game time decisions. Just to quickly clean up the rest of that Duke-Kentucky game. I mentioned, I think Cooper Flagg's going to have a really good game. Big stage, best player. Minutes tonight, though, is one of the big things where the best players could see a big uptick from what they've been playing, right? If you look for both Kentucky and Duke, they have not played incredibly competitive games so far, so it's kept minutes low. So that one applies to a guy like Cooper Flagg. I'll tell you a guy on the Kentucky side I think it could really apply to. Amari Williams, the Drexel transfer. Game number 1, 12 points, 13 rebounds. Game number 2, 13 points, 14 rebounds. 20 minutes in each of those games. If you look at his props tonight for this basketball game, they're actually offering, which is a little bit rare, points plus rebounds, considering the only players they're offering that for are Cooper Flagg and then also Andrew Carr. But it's 17.5. That number's up from 16.5, but he's been blasting through that. Now, the trick is, we don't know for certain that Amari Williams is going to see a big uptick tonight. That is a little bit of the risk because Kentucky is a very deep basketball team, and it's why you'll notice my action tonight that I mentioned with that, with Hunter Dickinson and Cooper Flagg. I think maybe the two safest guys in terms of minutes that you'll see for those respective games. So that's the way I'm looking to get involved here. We're going to have Brian Fonseca hopefully in here in just a moment or two. Oh, he's in here. Oh, that's fantastic. My man, Brian Fonseca, it's been too wild. We're live. We've got an NBA Cup that's going to be getting involved here tonight. We've got the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons. The 7 o'clock window also offers up Hornets Magic, and I'm on Charlotte tonight, actually, catching the 8.5. So, Brian, if we've got you, I'd love to get you in here. We don't have his audio just yet, which is a shame. Hopefully we can get Brian in here, though. So we can get a little bit of this NBA Cup tonight. Brian, you got us?
Yeah, stupid technical difficulties. We're all good now.
Hey, listen, it happens. It always gets the best of anybody. I mean, look, we got the NBA Cup tonight, Brian. I'm wondering, did you get involved with the in-season tournament at all in the futures market, or are you going to go game-to-game approach?
I know so many people who are betting like this team to win this and this team to win that. I may have nibbled on Charlotte a little bit to win their group just because I've liked this team. Even heading into the season, I had Charlotte getting 35 plus wins, which I may have put something on at +2. I don't remember if it was 270 or something along those lines.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's just a game-to-game thing for me for now. Like, you can kind of see and sense who's going to, or who do you think is going to do well. Like last year, the Pacers felt like they could make a run because of their offense. The Lakers, for whatever reason, also felt like the stars were kind of aligning there. And New Orleans was a team last year who went deep into the tournament, who
Yeah.
you could look at and be like, hey, they have some of the pieces that can do well in a tournament like this. That's not going to be the case this year because they're all injured, every single one of them. But yeah, I think the in-season tournaments is fun on a game-to-game basis, and maybe in a futures market, but it can be tough to like discern who is actually going to be built for this, so to speak.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the Sixers are built for it because Embiid will play all of the Cup games and then miss the next 2 games or so, if that's what it comes down to. What are you expecting tonight for the Embiid debut here against the Knicks in a pretty interesting spot?
Not 30 minutes. I'm not expecting that. I bet the Knicks already.
Okay.
It would be a nice surprise to see if Philadelphia can get back, but man, their depth has just not looked great. Like I saw them the other night because I had the Hornets +4.5, but also just for purely basketball reasons. I saw them eke out one against Charlotte that went to overtime that I thought Charlotte could have very well stole. And man, it's just a chore. And now Tyrese Maxey's out for a couple weeks. Paul George is still sort of getting integrated to their system. I looked up at one point, and Caleb Martin has been second in rebounds for this team. And having watched him with the Heat, I don't think that's something that should be happening. I know that he's playing your 4 essentially, but if he they have a big rebounding problem, and I think their depth. Now, it'll look better with Embiid there and Embiid healthy, that's for sure. But I think their depth has been a little bit overstated because of the excitement of getting the acquisition, so to speak, in Paul George. And I just don't think that he's going to change their fortune in a dramatic way. I think Embiid and maybe Tyrese Maxey continuing to improve are the only things that can.
Yeah, it's so interesting, Brian. Preseason, I said, if you told me that no one would get injured, I would have probably bet Philly to win the title. Because I think that if you told me nobody was going to get injured, yes, I do believe that. Because, Embiid last year was doing wilt stuff, which is nonsense. And then Paul George-esque is less, and Maxey was ascending, but I didn't touch anything on them. And that was before all the injury news came out, that they were all going to miss a bunch of time. Because, it kind of seemed inevitable. I think it's so tricky because we don't know what we're getting out of Joel Embiid tonight. I'll be honest with you, though, and I know you're on the Knicks, so I wish you great. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly drilled the Knicks here because the Knicks are healthier, not fully healthy. Their defense is a mess right now. I know there's the clip going around now about Cat's rim protection statistics that, are maybe a little flawed. They're not great no matter what. The Knicks have a bottom 10 defense right now. And in comes Joel Embiid. If he plays 25 minutes, that might be good enough for 30 points.
But the Knicks do have a good offense so far this year.
They do.
That I'm not sure Philadelphia without Tyrese Maxey is going to be able to match them punch for punch. And we'll see about the Knicks defense. I think the defense is a work in progress. Is the generous way to put it. I don't think the defense is very good. I think it'll get better, but with Karl Anthony Towns as your anchor and your rim protector, this is the trade-off you make. He's been awesome offensively. He's going to be an all-star if this continues because all-star voters don't care about defense as much as they should. So he's going to be an all-star because he's putting up the sexy numbers. But defensively, it's been bad. He looks lost. Maxey would. If Maxey was in this game, I would take Philadelphia because all they would do is just run him in a high pick and roll and just attack them all game long like Atlanta was doing with Trae Young and not just getting, layups, but also finding shooters very easy because the Knicks would have to, then overplay this side. And their wings also with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges haven't been lockdown defenders either. It's tough to have an elite defense as the Knicks did last year when you're basically a net negative defensively at the 1 and at the 5. And Jalen Brunson is not anybody's, Gary Payton either. So this is something they're going to have to work out, and this is where OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges especially have to really try to overcompensate, and Josh Hart as well.
They miss Mitchell Robinson, which, I don't know, it's weird when you need Mitch Rob this bad, but they really do. Are you betting anything else on the NBA slate tonight?
I have, now that he's activated, I have Jalen Duren over 9.5 rebounds.
Okay.
The Pistons are playing the Heat tonight. That was pretty juiced, but I mean, assuming he's not on a minutes restriction, and he shouldn't be. He missed 2 games, and he's mad young. He's like 21 years old or whatever. like enough with the minutes restriction in November with guys who are like sub 24 years old. The bet that I did like that I took, actually, Yusuf Nurkic over 20.5 points and rebounds. I did take that. They're playing Utah. I took that before Walker Kessler was deemed out.
Okay.
So that's probably 22.5 now or so, but hopefully that comes through. And also, this is one that I like that was a little more fun, plus 200. One book has a parlay spread total, and I took Hornets plus 7.5 and under 218.5 against the Orlando Magic. Obviously, Paolo Banchero's out. And I think this Charlotte team is well coached, and they have a direction now. And LaMelo Ball is playing really, really well.
He looks awesome. He looks awesome. It is great. Brian, we'll catch up again soon as the NBA season continues. We've got Mark Zinno coming up next here on Game Time Decisions.
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Fajeda is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6'8". Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Fajeda in the gray.
That lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown to him. Right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to get more of that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Fajeda. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work! Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the from. Oh, he's out! He's out!
Back to the right here. It's Game Time Decisions live on a Tuesday. And tonight there's a lot of basketball to get involved with, but we will also be getting the latest unveiling from the College Football Playoff Committee. And I still wish they didn't do it this way, but they do, and it's going to move things around. To help us talk about that a little bit is Mark Zinno. Mark, how are we feeling on a Tuesday?
Means I don't know what it means. It's just another way to put emphasis on things that don't matter. It's still a regular season NBA game. I don't treat it any different. However, the only thing I will say is that the only thing I took into account in handicapping the NBA Cup is that point differential matters.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some teams and some coaches who are inclined to say, hey, I want to keep scoring, where they might call the dogs off in the fourth quarter about 6 minutes left. If it's a blowout, nope, say I'm going to keep scoring. So that's about the only thing you really have to worry about when it comes to the NBA Cup.
It 100% will influence that, especially as the games go on. And it maybe gets us some cleaner injury reports, Mark, where if a guy's on the fence, a little bit more inclined to play, which within the NBA you'll take when you can get. Let me just quickly, though, start on the college football side with you because tonight, we're going to get the latest rankings, and there are some things that I am preemptively annoyed about, and that's kind of my fault, but I guess we'll let it play out. I want to ask you, Mark, because I know you cover the SEC so closely. The Georgia loss to Ole Miss. I am anxiously awaiting to see how they handle the Bulldogs in the rankings because the AP poll came out and shifted Georgia down to 11, where if the AP poll was mirrored by the committee, that actually wouldn't even have Georgia in a 12-team playoff. What do you make of the Dogs and kind of the SEC chaos?
Well, look, Georgia has some warts, obviously, right? They have a great win over Texas. They have a loss to Alabama, which, Alabama thankfully beat LSU, so it makes it a little bit more, palatable after what we saw from Alabama losing to Vandy and then struggling the next week with South Carolina. So, this is an elimination game for Georgia, but again, the SEC teams with 3 losses, I think there's still a path for all of them, including LSU. I don't think it's an elimination game for Georgia if they lose to Tennessee. I'd be more inclined to say that Tennessee would be on the outside looking in with 2 losses if they lose this game than Georgia would be with 3 losses, if that makes sense. The committee's going to give deference to Georgia because of the G on the side of the helmet. I certainly understand that. But, the other thing that Georgia can hope for is that you're going to get some chaos. Indiana's going to lose a game. Army's going to lose a game. I mean, somebody might pick off BYU. That really is the one that might, throw a wrench into the works here for everybody because BYU might be undefeated and still not win the Big 12. And then you start to wonder how that whole thing works out. Do you keep BYU in or do they go out? I mean, it would be great if BYU took a loss before the Big 12 championship game. That certainly would help a team like Georgia out because it's easier to leave them in or just have BYU run the table and win the Big 12. That makes it easier for them to get in. So I look at a lot of different scenarios that could unfold here. Georgia, again, if they lose this week, it will be tough, but I don't think it's an impossibility that they stay out.
Yeah, I think it would be very difficult. I also think a loss, though, would really change the perception of Georgia then because, again, losing at Bama and at Ole Miss, I think with what we've seen this season – losing on the road to a good team isn't the worst thing in the world, right?
No.
I think when you're Ole Miss and lose to Kentucky, we should hold that against the team and not just forget about it like everybody has done within the AP's rankings.
Kevin, what do you value more, the good wins or do you take away for the bad losses? Right? Everybody looks at that differently. I don't hit the bad losses as much as I give pluses for the good wins. Everyone's going to take a loss. Everybody. Like, there's going to be only 1 or 2 teams that stay undefeated. So if we're going to do that and we're going to look at it that way, then I don't hammer as much as the losses. Do you have good quality wins? Which is why I don't get enamored by the 0 in the loss column with Indiana. Indiana doesn't have a quality win over anybody. Like, Michigan is a very average team this year. It's not Michigan from last year. So they have an offense that is terrible. So, I mean, Indiana's still got stuff left to prove here. Yeah. If you ask me, if they don't run the table, maybe they sneak in as a 10 or 11 or a 12 seed at the end, but there's legitimate cause, just like it was for, Georgia last year, who took a loss in the championship game and everybody went, you're out. Now, granted, it's 12 instead of 4.
Yeah.
But you get the point kind of deal. So, and then there's Notre Dame in the whole thing. What's Notre Dame's quality win? I mean, A&M, I guess, right?
Yeah, at A&M. Louisville's going to be ranked, so, they'll hold that in their back pocket. Yeah. But, I think it's really interesting. My problem, though, too, Mark, just quickly on the Georgia bit of it all, right, is they also have better wins than Ole Miss, too. Like, at Texas is better than beating Georgia in your own building, right? To your point on Indiana, though, because I was really going through a lot of the the mechanisms of it all today, even if they lose close to Ohio State, they could be in real trouble. If they get rolled, I tend to agree with you. I don't think an 11-1 Indiana survives that.
No, especially when they don't even play in the championship game, right? Because when it comes down to Oregon and Ohio State, and Indiana's on the outside, like, do they squeeze in as a 12? Okay, what happens to Miami then? What happens? I mean, would you rather have a 3-loss Georgia or a 3-loss LSU or Indiana at 12? For my money, I'd take both of the SEC teams. They're better teams. I mean, again, I know this isn't all sequential, but Georgia right now sits next to Miami and Boise State. Georgia would destroy both of those teams. Handily. Like, we're not legitimately sitting here saying that those teams are on the same. So to knock down that low is a little bit sort of maniacal, but it's like, well, you can't punish all the other teams who won. Okay. This is the committee's challenge and their problem here again. And Indiana still sitting below Penn State, who they didn't play, obviously. And we all know Penn State is better than Indiana. If the two teams played, Penn State wins. But I think they would even win in Bloomington. So, that's just the reality.
So here's my thing, though. And I think that's fair. Like, if Penn State and Indiana played, no doubt the Nittany Lions would be favored.
Yes.
But Penn State also has no good wins. Like, and they're going to be ranked in the top 5? We know Penn State wouldn't beat Georgia or Alabama. They showed us this year playing Ohio State in their own building. As you know, Mark, the teams are not losing at home this year in these big games, other than Texas's loss and then, of course, Penn State's. It's gonna be really interesting to see. Mark's going to stick around, though. We're going to go through some basketball picks on the other side at SportsGrid.
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
That lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to get more of that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round 1 halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work! Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the bottom throw. Oh, he's out! He's out!
All right, back to right here, Game Time Decisions, and we move over to the basketball side of it because tonight we do have your NBA Cup, and how much it's up to you how much it matters, and it potentially can help or not at all your action on tonight's card. But we do have a great slate of NBA. Mark, what are you looking for here?
Which kind of concerns me a little bit. And that's probably because Toronto has a bunch of guys out. Like the Milwaukee Bucks shouldn't be laying 9.5 points to anybody at this point in time. Like the market hasn't corrected on Milwaukee at all. It's kind of, disturbing. This is a 2-8 team, and they're 2-8 against the spread. And all of a sudden they're laying 9 points to somebody. Dame Lillard is out in this game, which may actually make them better defensively. And Chris Middleton is out. But this is just too many points. It's way too many points for me. Like, Milwaukee, their two covers were the opening game against the season against Philadelphia without Joel Embiid, and then they beat a Utah Jazz team 123-100.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, nothing. The market has not corrected on Milwaukee yet. I think Milwaukee wins the game. Do they win this thing by 10? I say no.
Yeah, I think that Utah game is a really good one to bring up. And I know they didn't cover, but I think Toronto's better than Utah. And you're looking at what the same number in that game. And Milwaukee, by the way, had to turn on and play their best half of hoop in order to cover that game. They were losing at the break, actually, to Utah there. I don't mind the look at all. I know, Mark, you're also looking at the late game with Golden State and Dallas, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, kind of an interesting spot here as Klay Thompson returns to Golden State, right? Kyrie Irving coming off a 43-point game. I don't know if revenge really matters, but the Mavs swept the regular season series last year 3-0, so maybe there's a little bit of that. But the Warriors are also returning home after a 5-game road trip in which their only loss was to the undefeated Cavaliers. Steph Curry playing really well. He just dropped 36 on Oklahoma City. And the Warriors passed through a tough road trip in flying colors after a win at Boston. Dallas is 24th in defensive efficiency, 23rd in rebounding. Golden State is second in both offensive and defensive efficiency. This is another team I don't think the market is corrected on for the Warriors. Extremely underrated at 8-2 straight up and ATS. A much shorter number than I would have ever expected for this game here. I made this number 4. We're getting 2.5 in certain spots. Now it's 2.5. And there's a couple of threes starting to pop up in the marketplace, but I think this number is way short. I don't think that that Golden State loses this. I just to avoid the headache, Kevin, I just threw the money line. I'll pay the extra juice at around -140 just in case this thing is tighter than I expect. Anytime I can get 2 or 2.5 and less and just keep it under 150, I'll live in the money line world.
Yeah, I tell you, I looked at this game quite a bit because as someone who is going to, play in the futures market of the Cup, this is a really important game between Golden State and Dallas here within this Group C that has Denver at the top. And I think, not that I disagree with your bet or analysis, it seems like it's the first time the books are really respecting Dallas. Now, maybe I'm wrong and they're not giving Golden State credit. And I don't know if that's Dirk Lively supposed to be back or if there's just an overabundance of, they have to get this for Klay. They don't have to get anything for Klay. Who cares about winning this game for Klay? Maybe Golden State wants to win this to show Klay he didn't matter. I did bet the under in this game, Mark. I'm curious what you think of that pick at 235. I think underrated. We see these teams. We know the stars. These are 2 top 5 defenses.
They are. Here's the under works, at least in my favor, because in theory, the Golden State defense has every edge over the Dallas offense. Mm-hmm. They just do. Their defensive rank is better. Their field goal, percentage defense is number 2 in the league. Dallas is just 12th in shooting. You look at the 3-point field goal percentage defense. Golden State is number 1 in the NBA. Dallas is 21st in 3-point shooting. Like, they have hard advantages the Golden State defense does over the Dallas offense. And again, as you said, I don't really know if this is respect for Dallas per se, as much as I think it is they're undervaluing still Golden State and don't believe this team is as good as what they are, given how much they struggled to finish even at 500 last year. So I think we're still at that point where, 8 games into a season for a lot of these teams, the market hasn't corrected yet. And this is why I can jump on Golden State here at a shorter number.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they've surprised me. I didn't think that Golden State would be able to do this, especially, I know he was only out for a little bit. When I saw Steph get injured, they lost that game. He got injured in 2 to the Clippers. I was like, oh, no, this is going to fall off the rails quick. And they just kept winning every single game that they were playing. Really impressive stuff from the Warriors this season. Mark, really appreciate you stopping by here, helping us break it down.
No problem, Kev. Thank you.
All right, great stuff there again from Mark Zinno. What we are going to do, though, on the other side of this break is reset your NBA Cup odds. Little take 5 best bets from me within the NBA Cup's futures market. Next, right here, it's SportsGrid's Game Time Decisions.
main event tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
With that lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off-balanced him a little bit. Takedown right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to get more of that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work! Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the bottom from. Oh, he's out! He's out!
And he's down! And he is done! The king has returned! Francis Ngannou is back!
Live on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you here. We're going to do our Take 5 for the NBA in-season tournament. But just in case you are just tuning in with us, let me get you the card for tonight. We'll start college basketball. 4 picks. It's going to be Georgia at North Florida under the 159.5. Trying to sell high with the Ospreys playing that super high-scoring game against Georgia Tech. Looking to buy low on South Carolina, laying 8 to Towson. This is a number that, had they not been upset by North Florida, could potentially be double its current price. I like Texas to roll. Chicago State laying 29.5. Slow start against Houston Christian. They still won that game by 31. Comparable levels of teams, and then 1 million points should be scored in New Mexico and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Look for a very high-scoring game tonight there with the Lobos being the fastest team in college basketball. A&M Corpus Christi seen the level this year, already playing a really high-scoring one against Purdue. NBA card tonight. Hornets were involved, catching 8.5 against Orlando. I know the Magic have looked awesome in their last 2 games. I'm not buying it. I'm actually selling high. Give me the Charlotte Hornets, catching 8.5. LaMelo looks awesome. Sixers over 105.5 for a team total. It's my favorite bet on the NBA tonight. You'll see a little bit extra here in our Take 5 in just a moment. Like Lauri Markkanen in a bounce-back spot, plus elevated minutes against Phoenix, over 20.5 points. Give me that under in Dallas and Golden State late night, 235. Klay Thompson's back. Let's get some misses on the board. Take 5. My 5 favorite bets related to the in-season tournament. Just like when we did our NFL updated win totals, all 5 of these bets have been placed, but they are still ranked 5 all the way up to my absolute favorite. I mentioned the Sixers. I got to take a shot. Give me Joel Embiid to win the NBA Cup MVP at 35-1. The Sixers are somewhere between 19-1 and 22-1 to win the title. They're not winning this thing unless Embiid is playing and great. And tonight he's playing, which means he could be great. The Knicks defense is soft, and they are home. And if they win this game, they become the favorites in their group. They do not need Maxey back to win the rest of their group games against Orlando, who won't have Paolo, or Charlotte, or Brooklyn. Philly very well could go 4-0. They need to get it tonight, but that's why we're getting a number like this. If Joel Embiid goes out there, 25-10, and they beat the Knicks, this number could be cut in half. I got to take a shot on JoJo before it's too late. Maybe the Sixers season is a lost cause, but they can still turn it into an in-season tournament win. I am taking one more number. Now, I will let you know that this is going to be missing a 0, and that's okay. Because quite frankly, the Grizzlies to win the Cup would make a lot more sense at 13-1 than the 130-1 that you can find out there. That's the number. 130-1. That's crazy. There's no way it should be that long. They are actually live. I know it is a tough group. I like the way the schedule broke for them. They have this double-up home games with Denver. I think they can snag one of those. And beating the Nuggets could be the key. Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane are on their way back. Ja Morant is week to week, so he could very well appear within your next Cup game. The Grizzlies were supposed to be a team that could bounce back this season if health broke their way. That's why we're getting such long numbers related to the Grizzlies. I think this one is just too long. At 130-1, I'm playing it small, but I got to take a bomb ticket on Memphis. I'm taking a shot on the Houston Rockets at plus 460 to win Group A. I was out on Houston coming into the year. I still kind of am big picture. But this feels like the type of group that can get involved, inside Group A. This is partly me wanting to fade Minnesota. That's been the case since the NBA season began, and not much has changed. And I like the Rockets because at plus 460 within the group, they begin by hosting the Clippers and hosting the Blazers. That should be 2-0. And if they are able to handle their business in those games, I know I'm going to beat this plus 460 number. From book to book, we're also seeing a disparity on Houston. This is a plus 350 at one other option there. I really like what I'm seeing from the Rockets, who have had to put Amen Thompson into the starting lineup with the Fred VanVleet injury. That is good. FEV has been terrible for the Rockets. Amen Thompson rules. I think the Rockets get off to a 2-0 start, and we see what type of motion we can get from there at plus 460. It's worth a shot. My second favorite bet you can place within the NBA in-season tournament market is on the Boston Celtics. This is a Celtics team that I tried to get involved with last year. I'm getting involved with in a much less aggressive way this season. Last year, I was betting them to win the whole thing or Tatum to win in-season tournament MVP. I'm not doing it. They might get there. My problem is I was getting better numbers last year on a better basketball team. Boston was better last year, at least than they are so far this season. So I can't bet them at their current numbers. I can bet them at plus money to go 4-0 in their Group C games. Tonight they host Atlanta as a 15-point favorite. If they lose, then who cares? Obviously, this whole thing is a mess. The second game is against Cleveland at home. Boston is still a phenomenal home team. I know they have the Golden State loss. Boston has also been playing under the radar without 2 of their 5 starters. Jaylen Brown's been injured. He's back. And KP has been out. That's how good the Celtics are. They missed 2 of their 5 starters, and we just don't even talk about it. If they're going to win this group, they have to beat Cleveland at home. They are minus 175 to win this group. I'm getting plus 115 to go 4-0. Well, you might say, well, what about the road games? It's the Wizards and the Bulls. Again, if Boston loses one of those games, then so be it. My thought is they'll be 3-0 going into Chicago, and if I'm feeling a little weird about it, then maybe I'll get out of it. But at plus 115, I think this is the best Celtics number that you can find. My last one is the outright market. We have seen the NBA show us this season that there are 2 top teams, one in the East and one in the West. The Celtics in the East are 4-1 to win this whole thing. And at 12-1 is the top team in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This, to me, is the absolute best bet you can make. If I could only make one bet, it would be this bet. Let's try and understand why this number is what it is. I don't think it's all that hard. It's the Chet Holmgren absence. It has to be. Otherwise, this is an odds boost. This team's 5-1 to win the NBA championship. We're getting 12-1 to win the NBA Cup. If you look at their group, the big benefit that they get is hosting a Phoenix Suns team that will not have Kevin Durant. And getting that win on the board, which I will be stunned if they do not get, is the difference maker. They will be big favorites when they play Utah, and they will be big favorites when they play San Antonio. They just will. I think the Lakers game could be tricky. but I'm also not so sure that the Lakers can beat the Thunder. I'm really sure that the Thunder will be favored in that game because the Thunder, like the Celtics, are always favorites. And here is one of the big advantages and why I think this is such a great bet. If Chet Holmgren is the reason this number's dropped, well, what happens when Isaiah Hartenstein returns in the middle of the in-season tournament? You know, one of the best defensive centers in basketball that OKC picked up. Would this number get cut in half if the books realized he was going to be back right around the corner? I think it would. This is incredible value, and I believe it's the best bet that you can make in the NBA Cup. To run through them once again, Embiid to win the Cup MVP at 35-1. Grizzlies 130-1 to win the NBA Cup. Rockets Group A plus 460. Celtics to go 4-0 in Group C at plus 115. And who I actually believe will be your eventual champions. A team that feels like a college team, built to win a little bit of a tournament. The Oklahoma City Thunder at 12-1 to win the NBA Cup. Joined by Brady Cannon next to look ahead at next week's NFL slate.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in. We're live with you on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. Love going through a little bit of that NBA Cup. The games are live now, which is awesome. And Brady joins us here, who's asking me where are my Warriors tickets. Brady, I figured I'd leave them all to you. Golden State looks great.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. It was a couple years ago that I hit an outright ticket on them to win it all. It was the year Klay Thompson came back from injury, and I just had a feeling that they were going to do something special. I grabbed him at 11-1, like the day before the season started or something like that. And that was, of course, the year that they beat the Celtics in the finals. So That was the last time I cashed with the Golden State Warriors, and it looked like the end of an incredible run, the end of a dynasty. But here they are in the beginning of this season doing that 12-man rotation. They're very deep. They get a lot of talent, not a lot of stars, but a lot of talent. And I made a bet on them to win the Western Conference at 20-1. I have since seen those odds cut in half with this start that they've gotten off to. And I'm hoping for a big trade before the deadline, a big star, add another big name star that can take them to a championship run. And, we'll cross our fingers, see if we can make it happen again.
Yeah.
Before Steph is done in the Bay Area.
We'll see. They've impressed me. I wasn't expecting them to look as good as they have. I wonder if Steph holds up. He was actually a part of my concern for that team because he was not as good in the second half last year. And then if you looked with the Olympic team, he had 2 out-of-this-world games. Kind of bad. Outside of that, though, he's just been Steph Curry to start this season. We'll see if it holds, Brady. It's been a fun start to the NBA year. It's been an interesting start to the NFL year. I don't ever want to lie to people. If I said it was fun, I'd be lying. The NFL's really grinded on me this year, Brady. And I'll be honest with you, Brady, it's not even about the wins and losses. I think it's because I keep having to do these primetime shows and sit through the entirety of Rams-Dolphins and pretend it's interesting. And it wasn't interesting, Brady. It was just painful to watch that game. But I tell you, look at the Week 11 slate. We're supposed to get some good ones. We are. And I want to start with the big game. It's Buffalo and Kansas City, where I feel as if odds makers are probably even themselves going, oh, man, we got to make the Chiefs dogs again. Well, they did, and they are, and they should be. But we've seen this movie a few times, Brady. Chiefs are a dog. What do you make of that game in Buffalo?
Well, first of all, you talk about some good ones on this schedule for Week 11. There's also some real duds. The Raiders at the Dolphins, the Browns at the Saints, the Colts at the Jets, the Vikings. I mean, there's really only about 3 or 4 good games. It's kind of disappointing. A lot of haves and have-nots in this league. It seems to be the case as the weeks go on and more plays out. It seems like the good and the bad really separate themselves in this NFL year after year. But yeah, that's a dandy for sure in Orchard Park. I'm looking forward to that game. I made it 1.5 in favor of the Bills. 2.5 seems a little strong to me, and I understand it. To me, that's saying the Bills are 1 point better on a neutral, and you're going to give them 1.5 for home field advantage, and it comes out to 2.5. And you make a good point. The odds makers, I mean, they've got to be just kind of holding their breath because they're going to get, I'm sure they are already, they're going to get hammered with Chiefs money. And it's probably going to be some wise guys too, but for sure the betting public is going to go, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. Give me that. And I want 5 units on it, you know? And for me, that's going to be a great time to bet the Bills. And maybe you take the Bills money line. The way it works out, Andy Reid always gets you when it counts in the postseason, and the other teams that he beats up on in the postseason, they always get him in the regular season. So the Bills are going to win this anyway, right?
Well, I think the interesting thing, though, Brady, is this season, Kansas City has been so predictable, it almost makes it challenging. Oh, look at that. They're laying a touchdown. No chance they cover. And you watch the game play out, and they never flirt with covering. And then they play the Niners, and they should get destroyed by the Niners. Oh, and would you look at that? Brock Purdy plays the worst game of his career. Or they play the Ravens on opening night, and Isaiah Likely doesn't get the foot in. And I look at this game against Buffalo, Brady, and there's, to me, like, this is where when you bet off numbers, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with the number, and I'd listen if somebody told me it should be more. But Kansas City just played terrible, and Mahomes was atrocious again. Trust, I had Mahomes bets in. He was even worse in that game than the numbers will tell you. So he'll just show up in this game, complete 70% of his passes, throw for 320 yards, and you'll be sat there like, oh, okay, I guess this is how it goes. It's just, that has been their vibe this season, Brady, where, again, that's the whole thing, right? When they need it, they get it. So if they feel like they need this one against Buffalo, I guess they'll get it, number be damned.
Yeah, no, and I think that's going to be the thinking of a lot of people, especially the recreational bettors, the masses, is they just find a way to get it done. They find a way to win. And there's not an argument necessarily for that. But I think from a betting perspective, you don't want to necessarily just bank on that. I think the number's correct. I believe the Bills should be favored. And if you do have a little bit of that, anxiety like Mahomes and company are just going to find a way to get it done because they always do, then again, maybe you dumb down your bet a little bit and just play it on the money line, because I think that's the right side. It's hard to just keep going to the window, banking on the fact that the Chiefs are somehow going to find a way. I bet against them last week. I didn't bet the money line on the Broncos. I took the points with the Broncos. Yeah. I've bet against the Chiefs a few times this year, a few times successfully, a few times not. But, they can't continue to skate by the way that they are. I mean, last year was a year that you should have been able to get them. How did everybody let them slip through their fingers in the playoffs and eventually win a Super Bowl? I mean, Buffalo should have beaten them. The Ravens should have beaten them. And this year it's almost even worse. And they might win it all again. But you can't continue to just bank on that continuing to happen, despite what the numbers and everything tell you. You at some point you have to trust your numbers and bet that a team like Buffalo will get the job done.
Yeah, and it's. Then again, maybe to your initial point, Buffalo will get the job done here, and then the playoffs will roll around and things flip. We'll get to the rest of this Week 11 slate with Brady next.
Tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
That lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown. Right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to Kimura that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work!
Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the front. Oh, he's out! He's out!
And he's down! And he is done! The king has returned! Francis Ngannou is back!
All right, we got Brady Cannon here with us. We spent a lot, but a reasonable amount of time on Buffalo, Kansas City. I want to ask him about some other games here, including the biggest spread of the week, because I think these are always interesting to see where numbers can line up. Maybe the bigger the spread, Brady, the chance for a bigger disparity between you and the odds makers. Detroit almost had 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville. What do you make of that Lions team that somewhat similar to Kansas City, playing with fire, but got another win on a Sunday nighter?
Yeah, that Monday night or Sunday night, I should say, you're right. was the sign for me of a really good team. I believe the Lions are the best team in the NFL, and I've been saying that for probably at least a month. And that was an awful spot for them. That was a great spot for the Texans, being home for the first time in 4 weeks. The Lions were on the road for the 5th time, I think, in their last 7 weeks. They had just come off of a huge road win over the Green Bay Packers, and here they are laying more than a field goal. And the Texans ended up covering. But for Detroit, and then everything else, 5 turnovers, or trailing. For them to come back and win that game was huge. That, to me, tells me they really are destined possibly for a championship here. I think they will get to the Super Bowl. Like I say, I think they're the best team in the NFL. I'm not sure who they're going to face just yet. As far as this week, taking on the Jaguars, they are back home in the confines of friendly Detroit Ford Field there. I made it 11.5. It opened up 12.5. I mean, when you get to that, there's a difference between 13 and 14, certainly, but 10 or 12 and 11, you flip a coin. Just choose which number you want. They're not too different there. So it's not like I was really that far off with 11.5 versus 12.5. That doesn't mean I'm going to run to the window and grab Jacksonville by any stretch. Probably a game I won't play. Maybe you figure it into some teasers. Now, a 6 and a 7-point teaser is not going to really get you through some big numbers, but a 10-point teaser would be in play for sure. Because if you can get it, if you can work it properly, so your price is better than just putting together a money line parlay, doing Detroit on a 10-point teaser is basically going to get you to the money line. So maybe look at a 10-point teaser with the Lions somehow.
Let me ask you, within the NFC North, the Bears, they're playing Green Bay. I see this number's worked down from 6.5 to 5.5. They fire Waldron. Now, getting him out is good. I don't know if that guarantees the replacement will be better. I'm curious if that factors into your line and what you've made of Chicago as a pretty considerable home dog in this game.
I gave him an extra half point for that change at coach, Kevin. It's not the change to a head coach, which typically has a great deal of effect on a team, like we saw last week with the New Orleans Saints. But I don't think this is a bad thing. I think it can possibly help. I gave him a half point. I made the Packers a 5-point favorite. I had it at 5.5, but I took one more. I took another half point for the change with the offensive coordinator there. Also, the Bears, let's see, last week they were at home. Yeah, the Bears prior to last week, and just unbelievable, only scoring 3 points against the Patriots, inexplicable. But prior to that, they were undefeated at home. They don't have a lot of wins this season. I think it's only 4. All 4 of them have been at home, and this is a division game at home against, probably the greatest rivalry in the NFL. So maybe there's a half point for that as well. But, at the end of the day, the Packers are far better. They're off of a bye. And before that bye, they lost to the Lions, a division game. So certainly the bye came at a good time for them to reset and get their act together. The Packers should absolutely win this game, but I don't know how much by margin they'll get it done. I wouldn't feel real comfortable laying a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with this one because I think Chicago, understandably, I mean, they just scored 3 points at home to New England, and then the week before scored 9 in Arizona. Their power rating has had to have plummeted during this losing streak. But I love to try to catch the bottom, Brady, right? And this is right near the bottom. Has anything else for Week 11 really stood out to you?
Yes. I love the Commanders on Thursday night. I've made a good deal of money this year betting against the Commanders the week before a division game, which worked in our favor last week. And I like to bet on the Commanders in a division game, which, by the way, they have another one next week when they're laying double digits to the Cowboys. So give me the Commanders catching 3.5, and I'll take all 8, 7.5, whatever you want to give me with the Raiders. I made that number 3 in favor of the Dolphins. The Dolphins are not a good team. They've lost 6 out of their last 7. The Raiders, off of 5 losses in a row, catch a bye at a nice time. I think they'll show up and keep this one close.
All right, it's going to be a great week, Brady. We appreciate it as always. The Consig stops by next.
main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
That lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown right there. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to get more of that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work!
On the hips, look at that position, that's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the bottom from. Oh, he's out! He's out!
And he's down! And he has done! The king has returned! Francis Ngannou is back!
All right, we're back to right here. It's Game Time Decisions. We're making it happen on a Tuesday night. And I haven't seen the Consig in a long time. And I got to tell you, Dave, you showed up in some gear I'm none too pleased with. And that can only let me think that someone got some word back to you that I maybe was saying some not too nice things about Penn State. What's the story, Consig? Yeah, you did. Yeah, I can tell. Is it wrong?
Nonsense up to this point. There's a lot of things that so have to be worked out. But you play who's on your schedule.
Sure.
And you play the games. If you beat the team when they're ranked and they end up not ranked, whose fault is that? And I heard what Zeno said, and I understand it. And I understand all the SEC love. They're all better teams.
Yeah.
They're all better teams. All of them. This thing should just be an SEC tournament.
Whoa!
They shouldn't let anyone else in.
Whoa!
Come on.
Whoa!
Why would you let in Ohio State? They only beat one team, and it's Penn State.
Hold on.
I mean, come on. Why involve the Big Ten at all?
Hold
the
on.
ACC.
Dave.
What are we doing?
Dave.
I don't understand it.
Dave, I know we haven't seen each other in a while, but I'm pretty. Who am I? What am I? You know, the most unbiased man. The history of sports media.
Unbiased man in the history of sports media.
I mean, Dave, it's the NBA Cup tonight. I didn't even bring it up. I was going to let people just figure it out. I bet the Thunder to win the thing outright. Who's in the group with them? The defending LA Lakers. I mean, how do I keep doing it? It's incredible. But, Dave, you know who I haven't.
You know the truth about that. Come on. The Lakers are
Dave,
not who they are normally.
Well, hold on. But they weren't last year and they won the Cup. Now, come on. Don't start taking shots at them. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Now, hold on. Dave, what? You know who's getting too much respect? And Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost at home to Northern Illinois. Just because it happened 9 months ago doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's ridiculous that they're going to be ranked in front of Miami or Bama or Georgia. Come on.
Everybody has a bad day. You can't have a bad day?
Dave, I'm pretty sure if Georgia lost to Northern Illinois, they'd fire Kirby on the spot.
On the spot?
They wanted to fire DeBoer after he lost to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt ended up being good. Northern Illinois stinks.
They were still 23-point favorites and lost to Vanderbilt. I mean, everybody forgot about that already.
But see, I actually did. I go the other way. The loss is not a good loss, but it's not the outright disaster we thought it was in the moment. Like, Vanderbilt's going to make a bowl game. They got a little bit of pop this year.
Yeah.
They're okay. Like, Vanderbilt would be the 6th best team in the Big Ten.
But if Ohio State lost to Vanderbilt, it's over. That's it.
What are you talking about?
That's it. There's no more talk
Ohio State could. Ohio State
they
gets
can't
plenty
lose
of.
to a directional state. They can't lose.
First of all, Alabama isn't ranked 4th. They were in an elimination game this weekend. Okay, Alabama also has.
Wait, you're saying LSU is out?
Are they not?
I would hope so. But there's a lot of people that are saying, "Wow, bada bing, bada."
Yeah.
Every team in the SEC is still alive.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out that way. Listen, Dave, I agree with you. I think we're hearing that a lot. So one of the things, and I've been tempted, but I haven't jumped. There's a lot of value out there on betting some teams to miss the college football playoff. Like Tennessee's minus 350. They're going to fall like a rock if Georgia beats them this weekend. They're going to drop like a stone.
In a game that they cover? Because if they get blown out, I mean, they're double-digit dogs. If they lose by 20 plus, bye-bye. That's done. It's over. I don't know who needs to hear it. Tennessee, you're done. If you don't, you got to be competitive in this game, let alone win to stay in the conversation. Otherwise, you're done. It's over.
Penn State, and I can only use the AP poll, right? But Penn State, the week they lost to Ohio State, right? Who's Ohio State? I mean, they fell 3 spots. That's because a lot of other teams lost. But we saw Penn State fall, right? Like, Tennessee's going to fall. They just are. And I think Tennessee's a team that it'll be their 2nd loss. So that's obviously, it's going to weigh more. I think Tennessee's in some trouble. I think, I'll tell you, and I feel a little bad for them. I don't pick on Indiana the way some others do. But the more I look at it, they need to hang with Ohio State or they're in real trouble. They're in real trouble.
Oh, there's no doubt they're looking for every reason to keep them out. I feel like they have to win. I think if it comes down to them with 1 loss or one of said SEC teams with 2 losses, they're going to say, "Listen, it's the SEC team. It's a bigger ticket. It's a bigger party. It's this." The entire state of Indiana will shut down to go to a game. It'll be like the movie Hoosiers. Everyone will put close signs up. So talking about like people going to game wherever it's at, they'll go. So all of that discussion is out. I mean, I can't imagine, or I can. There's a world where how many SEC teams get in? The conference champion, the loser of the conference championship, and how many more?
I think you're capped at 5. I think it's probably 4. I think it's probably 4 teams. But Dave, that's about what we were expecting,
that's
right?
That's fine. If it's 4, I think it's 5.
Do you?
You're going to find it the way it's being discussed. And I think, what do you do with a team like BYU? If BYU gets to the conference championship game with Colorado, and loses, are they going to keep out a 1-loss BYU team because BYU's BYU?
I don't think so. Because here's why, Dave, right? 1-loss BYU is gonna. So again, I'll just use. Where's the? Hold on. So I'll use the AP poll, right? They'll jump Tennessee and Indiana if they lose. So they're gonna go into that game 5th. I don't think they drop 7-8 spots for losing to Colorado, who at the time would be ranked some pretty highly themselves, right?
I would think so. I mean, Colorado's had to come from way behind because they already have the 2 losses. They're playing a playoff game every game. You look at BYU, they're 3-point favorites against Kansas.
So that's the thing.
That's a tough game.
And then they're going to be dogs to Arizona State. Like, you can get minus 115 on BYU to miss the playoff. It's not a bad number.
That's not a bad bet.
It's not a bad bet at all. They're not even favorites to win the Big 12, and they're going to be a dog in that game if they make the game. They're probably going to make the game, but they're going to be a dog, guaranteed.
Small. Yeah, small.
Yeah, not yet. But, like if it's Kansas State, they might catch 7. Books love K-State. Books love K-State.
The secret may be out on K-State. I don't know how much you love K-State. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Look, Tom, you know what's one of the more interesting ones, Dave? So if it goes chalk, I was listening today, it'll be Texas-Bama in that SEC title game.
Mm-hmm.
You think they're going to ding Bama up if they get a third loss on the resume? Or they're fine?
They're going to keep Bama out of this?
I don't think they should. But
I don't think there's a chance in hell they keep Bama out of this.
I think it's going to be interesting, though.
That I have it, but I'm not putting it on right now.
Looks
I
nice,
have it
though.
ready.
Is that new?
No, this is old. This is
really
crisp.
looks crisp.
Yeah, it is very nice.
Wow, that looks crisp.
Yeah.
What's college baseball? Nobody sees that and thinks college baseball. No.
No, it's not.
No, come on. Now I got to talk to the producers behind the scenes. We got a lot of problems.
Unbelievable.
We need an extended
Things
break.
are getting loose.
If
Oh,
you
my
see that
goodness.
Alabama A and start thinking about who's hitting cleanup, I got a lot of problems. We're taking a break on SportsGrid, a much needed one at that.
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6 foot 8. Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
With that lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off balanced him a little bit. Takedown to him. Randy Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to come over that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round one halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work. Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Henry's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing lots of throw. Oh, he's out. He's out.
Live right here on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. We're hanging out with the Consig. It's been a while. Dave, tonight the NBA Cup is going on. We've also got 2 big college games. In the room tonight, are they dealing a little more in the NBA, or does Kentucky Duke maybe come over the top?
Kentucky Duke definitely does. In the time slot it's in, I mean, I'm watching Kansas and Michigan State right now, trade baskets. It's a close game. That one gets the juices flowing early, but yes, this is the marquee college basketball game of the night, and we're in full swing, man. I mean, it started midweek, all week. It's all about the college baskets. The NBA Cup is interesting. Figure out which group and what odds. And are you a fan of the courts? I mean, we talked about it today on BVB. I mean, some of these courts are like the Celtics court is as green as could be. I like and the Knicks is orange. It's a bright orange court. You got to figure out who's playing who, which games. Tuesdays and Fridays mean more. That's the cup games. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, between the NBA, the NFL talk too is going on. There's a lot of NFL talk. I mean, you know who's playing on Thursday. We had a great divisional game last Thursday where everybody won with every prop possible. We saw 69 points scored, right? 35-34.
Yep.
A little bit of a different game this week, I think, between the Eagles and the Commanders. I mean, the total's close to the same. 48 and a half. Eagles. No. I mean, they're the second best team in the NFC. No. Are we going to make that argument? Are you on board with that? You went to see this team play in person.
Well, no, Dave, I wouldn't make the argument they're the second best team. I'd make the argument they're the best team. I mean, I don't. Why? I just.
Oh, not Detroit?
Nah, they can kick rocks, man. You're betting on that guy who threw 5 picks? Cut it out. Cut it out.
How'd they win that game?
Good for them. I'm telling you, sometimes, Dave, look, I don't know if the Eagles will get there because that's just sports. These people sitting on these Lions tickets, one of them's a good friend of ours and Donnie Rightside. When that guy sits there and goes, I can't believe I put all this on Goff. Like, I know, man. It's all right. Let's pick your head up. We'll get him next time. All right? Come on. I can't do this. I can't. But let me just tell you on the Philly side of it, Dave, because, you've been hearing this from me all season. With A.J. Brown, they haven't lost a game.
Right.
They would be averaging, I think, the most or second most points per game in football. Biggest margin of victory in the games A.J.'s played.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, that does nothing for nobody?
Is he playing
Thursday? Playing Thursday. Of course he's playing Thursday. Here's the thing. Here's how it goes, okay?
Yeah.
Washington either steps up and shows us that they can do a lot more than just make the playoffs, and maybe they do that. Because that's the league, right? Everybody has, a game like that kind of on their resume. Baltimore lost at home to Vegas. Detroit lost at home to Tampa. The Niners have lost at home about 800 times to bad teams. Nobody cares. They're minus 115 to win the title. It feels like ridiculous. So it happens. Now, if it happens to Philly, I'm going to go nuts. Not because everyone's going to tell me that they're bad, they're frauds, and they'll pretend it hasn't happened to everybody else other than Kansas City, right?
Correct.
But if the Eagles win, then that's when everybody wakes up. Everybody goes, hey, they're unbeaten with A.J. Brown this year. Hey, Jalen Hurts kind of playing good football. MVP conversation? That's what'll happen.
Oh, no. They don't start that. They don't do that. Jalen can't get in that. No, the main thing is the main thing with Jalen.
The guy with the fourth best odds can't get in? Just curious how that works for you.
No.
Interesting.
They ain't going to let him. No.
Whoa.
No.
Really?
No.
All right, so I got to play some action then, because now I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't like what I'm hearing. All right. I tell you what.
You can get in advance of it because, everybody's talking about. I mean, Buffalo and Kansas City this week. That's the A-side game. That's the game everybody's talking about. And how can Kansas City be getting points is fascinating to a lot of people. Buffalo's going to win the game.
Yeah, but hold on. But if they don't, Josh Allen done in the MVP race, or you think he's still in the mix?
I mean, if he throws 3 picks or something like that, then
he could throw 3 touchdowns.
Put him down below, but they're going to win the game. This is the game that Kansas City gets caught.
Okay,
we'll see.
I could see it. I won't bet the side. I don't need that in my life. All I'm saying is, I don't think Josh's MVP candidacy survives the loss. He'll have lost outright to Mahomes and Lamar. I don't think he survives it. I just don't.
Yeah.
And then Mahomes has no case.
Well, listen, you know it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. You know it's Ravens week in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
You want to get in advance. You better bet this thing before Thursday. So if Jalen wins, Josh loses, and Lamar loses in Pittsburgh, you'll be sitting on a guy with the second best odds. Jump up, shorten them things up, be pretty good.
And that I will let people know this legit. So because the award is so record based, right? Now you have to have good numbers. Like I don't know if Mahomes has been so bad this year that they are unbeaten and he is 6-1. That's how bad he's been. I want to see how much it moves if the Eagles win. I want to see how much it moves because it's 12-1 right now, and I don't know if it gets slashed. I don't know if you're still getting 10-1. Like I would lose $2.
I was
Dave.
going to say 10. I was going to say 10.
I'd lose $2 to make sure they win the game. It's a tough game.
Well, it's
Washington's been good
game.
Washington's been really good this year.
If Kansas City goes and wins
in
Buffalo,
he
becomes an overwhelming favorite.
I don't think he does.
Despite the fact that he's playing like you're saying. Betting yes on him to throw a pick has been money every week. Easy money.
He hasn't done it in 2 straight weeks. Might need over turnovers in that game, though, because Josh is back to throwing picks, isn't he? Interesting how that happens. All right, Consig, we'll button it up on the other side. What are you saying?
Your main event, tail of the tape for Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou, 38 years of age. Reina Ferreira is 34. Francis standing 6 feet 4 inches tall. That's usually the bigger man, but tonight he'll face a man who is 6'8". Reina weighed in heavier, has the longer reach on arms and legs. Francis Ngannou in the gold and black. Reina Ferreira in the gray.
With that lead hand, he's got to be cautious because that right hand is coming over the top.
Oh! Off-balanced him a little bit. Take down the right there. Brandon Couture told you to watch for the wrestling. Who lands the takedowns? Good level change from Francis. Well timed. Drives through. Now on top.
My goodness. How are you going to Kimura that? Oh!
Triangle attempt here.
Francis needs to rip out of that right now. The longer he stays, the more chance he has of getting caught.
Wrist again, trying to stifle the punching attack of Ngannou.
Round 1 halfway gone. Now the far side underhook for Reina Ferreira. See if he can build himself up. Easier said than done. From underneath somebody like Francis Ngannou, who punches from the top. Nasty work! Francis Ngannou wailing away.
Look how heavy he is on the hips. Look at that position. That's beautiful work. Hender's going to have to work tremendously hard to get Ngannou off him so he can get back. And he is unleashing the from. Oh, he's out! He's out!
Back with you right here. It's Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by Dave Sharapan. And, Consig and I now, we only get to really chop it up on Tuesdays. And I've not been here on a few Tuesdays. And I just realized this is the first time I've seen Dave since the World Series. Now, I'm not going to bring that up. What I am going to bring up is, Dave, you know that baseball still hasn't handed out the awards? So do you know that I still, when I scroll through my catalog, have to see that I have Paul Skeens and Emmanuel Clase at 200-1 to win their respective Cy Youngs? And do you know that I keep telling people in the office that I believe somehow, some way, they might just hand the award to Skeens? Because why not? Like, they all forgot what happened in the season. Maybe the votes got lost and they just hand it to the kid. Why not, Dave? Is it crazy? Would anybody even know?
You'll know. I'll know.
Yeah, that's different.
And the awards are here, I believe. The award ceremonies.
But there's a ceremony?
MLB. I believe so. And if this happens, if Skeens get handed this award, I'm going to find him, and I'm going to get him to come on Game Time Decisions to say you should have put more on it. And I'm going to talk to him.
Honestly, we might have to give him a taste at that point if it does come.
Right?
In.
Hey, Paulie, come on.
I don't think he needs it, but
he doesn't. But he's still on the rookie contract and everything. But yeah, we'll talk to him specifically about that actual number. Now he's on. He's on the
game day,
picking the games. He's picking the games and stuff. Him and Livy. So he's dialed in with this stuff. Yeah.
You think he's got picks? Now hold on.
Oh, hey.
Who do you think he's like? Who do you think he has winning the cup? That's what I want to know. I imagine he's been capping NBA Cup all day. That's a guy after my own heart now.
I'm gonna guess he's dialed into the college baskets. I'm gonna guess he's probably on.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. If he bets college basketball, there's no way he just started betting college basketball. And my advice is wait a couple of years, Paul. All right?
Yeah.
Because you don't need anything to be figured out.
No aggravation there.
Dave, before we
is
get
Soto
going to
be a Yankee? That's all I need to know.
Who cares? I think so, but who cares? Like, I can't right now. I can't. I know you want to. I see you trying to fire me up. I'm in a good mood today.
What if he goes to the Mets?
I'll go crazy on the Yankees. Good for the Mets. I do actually think he'll be back, but it wouldn't stun me if he left. Realistically,
he's talking to the whole AL East. He's having a meeting with the Blue Jays, with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on, Kevin? This is not your dad's Yankees. This is not the old man.
And let me tell you something.
This guy leave.
No, see, now you did strike a chord. I root for my dad's Yankees, not this garbage. Okay? Like, I have to do this, okay, because bless my father, but I think he started to give them grace that he shouldn't, okay? Because I grew up in that house looking at Yankees excellence. We're supposed to be annoying. You're supposed to hate us. And we're supposed to get everybody. That's what we're supposed to do. Not, hey, you see this kid in the minors with a 340 OBP? Cut it out, all right? Trade everybody in the farm system and bring Soto back. That's the Yankees I want to root for. Now we're talking. Now I'm fired up. Maybe this team can make a run now. Now we feel better. Consig, it's been great checking in with you. It's been great checking in with you, pal.
It's not fair to only get 1 day a week with you, but it's okay. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
We make it work when we can, all right?
We do. We do.
Enjoy that in-game live. We'll talk. We'll talk. All right. There's the Consig. Look, before we get you out of here, I'll run through the card one more time for any action that has not began just yet. NBA-wise, Larry Markkinen over the 20.5 points, and Warriors-Mavs down under that 235. We're going over 160 in New Mexico, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, laying 29.5 with Texas against Chicago State, laying 8 with South Carolina, and it's under in Georgia, North Florida, the Ospreys. Oh, Dave didn't know we had the juice hitting on the other side of it, man. Come on now. That Lobos game's going to open up. Come on, Dave. Dave, pick your poison. You want a hockey pick? I don't know what's on the slate tonight. I don't got one for you. Don't worry. Hold on. Let me scan. Hold on. Whoa. Oilers, Islanders. This game opens up in a big way. Like over. Oh, that game to the moon. Could have 12 goals in that game. OKC win the NBA Cup. You got to pump it up. We feel good. I'll see you Thursday. Go Birds! Go Birds!